Hello guys and welcome. In today's video I wanna talk about Elden Ring. Now what most people don't realize is that PvP and PvE content are interconnected, and a lot of players actually do PvE content so they can later try all these cool spells and weapons in PvP. And Elden Ring is a game that is designed around theory crafting, around character building, right? I just finished Elden Ring. I finally, now currently I'm in a new game plus, so I finally did all the things I was still missing, like trying to get the goat armor, get all the seals, got some, charms and relics and so on. And in my opinion, one of the biggest problems with Elden Ring is the lack of replayability. There is artificial replayability and lifespan, and in my opinion this is where we are seeing outdated game design. In my opinion, Miyazaki is not really innovative and maybe not even a good game designer. Well, he is and he isn't, right? In my opinion, it was kind of a mistake that he reached and achieved replayability through through artificial content, forcing players to start new games if they wanna acquire all the items in the game. But in my opinion, true replayability comes from multiplayer content, because if you do things right, players will make their own content and they will play the game much more. I mean, this is what the whole game was designed around, trying to get all these cool spells and weapons so you can later try them against bosses and against other players. But because the lack of PvP content, we have basically no leaderboards, no rewards, no factions, no social interaction, no guilds. And that's one of the biggest problems why games like Elden Ring won't really last more than few years. And even though they put so much effort, there is so much content in Elden Ring. Elden Ring is such a great game, and there is so much content, so much spells, but you can only play it so much. Most players, for me the biggest reason why I play Elden Ring for 200-300 hours is because I'm a completionist. I wanna get all the items, all the cool spells. I got almost every single spell in this game, and this is what is really fun to me. The sense of progression is one of the best in this game, but there is a lot of outdated and frustrating game design, and especially for newer players. In my opinion, Elden Ring could be 2-3 times more popular if they would only do things right, because currently I feel like they're ignoring 40 to 50% of their player base. I know Soul games never really had a good PvP and multiplayer experience, but that was like 10-20 years ago, and back then it was maybe understood, but right now it just feels outdated. And it feels like Miyazaki don't really care about most of their community. They want us to spend so much money for the game, for the expansions, but they never really bother to fix any of the issues the game has, right? Zero social system, no chat bubbles, no voice chat, no voice lines. Zero leaderboard and rewards. Every competitive player in existence has leaderboard and rewards, right? And this is what really sucks about Elden Ring PvP. There is no initiative, no achievement, no real progression, right? I mean, the biggest thing is that people do. The biggest thing for PvP is that you wanna try out all these fun builds and such. But there could easily be some rewards, at least maybe put like larva tiers as a reward in PvP, so we can, try all these different characters and builds. And there is so many design flaws here. Like the whole game was designed around theory crafting, but you have limited amount of items you can use to actually reset the character stats. You can barely beat the game and the bosses with all the with how many larva tiers you get, because to beat different bosses you wanna try different builds and different items, but you cannot really do that in this game, and then we still have peer-to-peer connection, we still have no horsing co-op, a lot of the game is supposed to be open world, but when you realize in reality there's just a specific path you need to take. Elden Ring is not really an open world game. There are all specific paths you need to take. There is insane fall damage. Like, maybe if there won't be fall damage, maybe the game will be true open world, but I don't think so. In my opinion, Miyazaki is just, honestly, they're just outdated gaming studio at this point, and I'm surprised how can they even get so many players to play it, right? It's because social media is so easy to manipulate with bots and promotional accounts these days. You don't even need to make good products, you just have to use AI to manipulate people. It's so easy to manipulate people these days on social media. People have no idea, because 50 to 70% of the accounts you see on social media are bot promotional accounts. And in my opinion, I'm kind of disappointed in Miyazaki, because it's almost like he doesn't even understand gaming. He doesn't, even Miyazaki, he's one of the leader, you would expect a guy like Miyazaki to actually understand the game design, that PvP and PvE content are interconnected, that they give life and replayability to both. Many people do PvE content so they can later try PvP, right? If you have good PvP, you will also motivate people to do all the open world and PvE elements. I mean, this for me was the sole reason why I played Elden Ring so much, you know? Because I'm completionist at heart, but also because I wanna try all these cool spells and weapons in PvP against other players. But then you realize the PvP sucks in this game, you know? The PvP sucks. Outdated pair-to-pair connection, no leaderboard, no rewards, no social elements, you know? I mean, nobody say you need to totally change what makes Soul series special, but just blatantly ignoring most of your player base and never fixing any of these issues is just simply disappointing from such a massive studio. And at the end of the day, you realize the game isn't really that hard. What is hard is that half of the game you're fighting with the outdated game design. And it's same in most Japanese studios. It's same. In my opinion, this is problem with outdated mentality in game design that a lot of these Japanese gaming studios still have. They think that competition is a bad thing. They think that social elements, multiplayer elements are a bad thing. They have one of the best franchise in their hands. You know, they know how to make good games, but they don't know how to make complete games. And that's what's so disappointing about Elden Ring and other franchises like Final Fantasy, Monster Hunter. They still call Final Fantasy a social game, yet the game doesn't even have basic social features like chat bubbles or voice chat. All you're doing is looking at the chat box in the corner of your screen. You literally have to install mods to have chat bubbles in in Final Fantasy. And then same thing in Monster Hunter. You return back to the city is empty, there is no players running around. Just NPCs standing there, the game doesn't feel alive. You know, games are not only for teamwork, but also for competition, for competitive spirit. And people often mix competitive spirit with toxicity. Competitive spirit is about passion, seeing who's the best, having rivals, having friends, working together, competing against each other. That what make games fun, you know? And they're really supposed to make dream game for us, but because they have this outdated mentality, outdated game design, like, nobody tells you to change everything you're doing, but don't just blatantly ignore. Your game could be 2-3 times bigger if you had some social features, you had some multiplayer elements, guilds, server announcers, faction, rewards, guilds fighting for fastest and first boss clears. Like, your game could be 3 times bigger if you wouldn't be so outdated, you know? And this is the problem with Elden Ring. The game simply doesn't have enough replayability. You guys put so much effort into designing these massive worlds, which takes hundreds of hours, even if you use AI. But at the end of the day, you're not reaching the replayability and the lifespan such games need to last. You know? And that's, you know, in all sense, Elden Ring expansion could be free. But no, they have to charge money for it because there is a lot of they have to put a lot of investment, a lot of effort to making new content. I understand that. But if you guys would have multiplayer elements, you know, people would game your game so much more, and you will get money and you will get replayability, right? It's almost like Miyazaki himself doesn't really understand the game design, right? He doesn't understand that PvP and PvE elements are interconnected. He doesn't understand how to reach replayability through multiplayer content, not just by interficial content like forcing players to start new games so if they wanna get all the items and such, which is in my effect just punishing for players. People say Elden Ring gives you choice, but the game doesn't really give you choice. In my opinion, Elden Ring turns into a job. First, you know, when everything is new, you wanna explore, you know, it's fun, but then later the game turns into a job you just wanna be done with, because there is a lot of outdated elements, barely any PvP content, barely any replayability. You know. And of course, social media is full of it. You can go on social media, all these big YouTubers who are getting paid to talk about this game, of course they will never criticize it. Even themselves, they use countless of promotional accounts, bots, to manipulate their viewers and algorithms so they can make more money out of it. And people will play DLC, because it's a new thing, right? Everybody loves new things. You know, it's something new, it's something exciting, it's something everybody wanna try. It's a good opportunity to make content because people will watch, you get a lot of views, a lot of subscribers, right? But I tell you now, the DLC will have the same issues. The game will always have the same issues, the core design issues, the lack of replayability, the lack of multiplayer content. And DLC can only last so many hours. Once you're done with it, what next? You will, oh, we have PvP. Oh no, but PvP sucks in this game because we still have pair-to-pair connection. We still can't use horse in co-op. We still have no leaderboard, no rewards. So no replayability, no initiative to actually play the game more, no factions, you know, no guilds, no multiplayer hub, so the game wouldn't feel dead when you play it. Like, just, you know, keep the core of the game. That's okay, but also don't just simply ignore the rest of your player base. You could easily make like a multiplayer hub, like a cool big city where players would actually gather, you know, and then you will have faction NPCs there and you have leaderboards everybody can check. Nobody forces you to do that, to go there, but it would be very cool. Or if you have basic like leaderboard and rewards for arena and invasions. That would be so cool. In my opinion, Elden Ring has so much potential. It's a great game, but it's not a complete game. So, let me know what you guys think about this, and see you in the next one. Peace.